Welcome. Today I will be paraphrasing, summarizing, and sharing for the January 5th Al-Anon readings, Encouraged to Change, and a little time for myself. We'll begin with the Serenity Prayer and 3 mindful breaths. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and wisdom to know the difference. Start with a little time for myself. I'll take a moment to look this over. The question of the day is, how can I acknowledge and honor my feelings today? The passage begins with something that is said in Al-Anon quite often, which is that feelings are not facts. When we talk about our feelings, it often helps to release them a little bit to make them not quite as strong, if they're negative, that is. When we can share our feelings and quiet our minds just a bit, we're more open to our higher power's guidance. That's what this is saying. Today's reminder, saying even though our feelings are strong, our higher power is guiding us. And the quote is from Discovering Choices, Recovery and Relationships. And it's saying that what we do with our feelings is the most important thing. We have a right to our feelings, but how we choose to act on them is up to us, and that's very important. And a lot of that, for me, has to do with my progress in recovery. So how do I acknowledge and honor my feelings today? I find that it's really helpful to tell someone that I trust how I'm feeling, and to take whatever action I can to take care of myself. So if I'm happy or like overexcitedly happy, then that can kind of be a little bit out of balance too. Like being really, really happily excited about something. I mean, it's good, but one of the great things I learned in Al-Anon is that nothing is ever as bad as it seems, but also nothing is like the best thing that ever happened in the world, if that makes sense. So extremes, whenever I'm feeling extremes in one way or another, I know that I'm out of balance. And it may not be a big deal, but it's just good for me to be aware. And I find that if I'm feeling a little anxious about something, it helps to, because I live with my partner, I say to my partner, I'm feeling a little anxious about this. and we talk it over, and I'm trying to think of a time when it ever turned out not fine. I was going to say it's always fine, and I know it always is a very strong word, but like things work out if I let them. Things work out if I let them. So that's how I'm acknowledging and honoring my feelings today. How about you? Still getting used to these clear glasses, and they're supposed to block out blue light, but I see blue and purple. All right, moving on. Oh boy, this is a big page. All right, I'm just going to show you. I have the whole thing outlined. There's a tab and the whole thing is outlined. All right, I'm excited. I'm going to look it over. Yeah, this is a great page, and I can see why I've loved it so much. It's talking about learning about compassion and how Al-Anon teaches us the difference between compassion and enabling, and how when we try to cover or clean up after our loved ones who are suffering from substance abuse, what we're actually doing is we're enabling them to continue to not care for themselves, to not take care of themselves. That the most compassionate thing we can do is let them live their life as they choose and let the natural consequences occur. And it says, how do we know the difference between enabling and uh, compassion? Sometimes it's hard to know, and it's suggesting that looking at our motives can be helpful. If we're trying to control a situation, it is probably enabling. If it's something that they could do for themselves, if it's something that's best for me, if we resent what we're doing, if it's not really a loving choice. And it says ultimately what we find is that most of the time the compassionate thing is to let people take responsibility of their own behavior. Today's reminder, we all have choices, including our substance abusing loved ones. We'll make the best choices for ourselves and allow others to do the same. The quote is from Al-Anon Faces Alcoholism, and it says, giving those we love the right to make their own choices and recognize them as their own. That's what we learn about in Al-Anon. We give people the dignity to live their lives as they want to. And that's, for me, this doesn't say it about, it doesn't mention detachment with love on this page, but for me, they go hand in hand, because if I'm going to not be enabling and I'm going to show compassion, I need to do it in a loving way. And for me, the only way to do it is detaching with love, because not that I know and I'm not in the situation now, but in other ways I am. Not with substance abuse, but um, like being young is hard. When I was young, being young was hard and expensive, and there was never enough money. And I think many young people in their 20s today have similar situations. And um, when my loved ones come to me, I help them if I can. But like right now, I'm in a situation where someone asked for a loan. It wasn't my son. It was someone else who I care about very, 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 very much, as if I gave birth to them myself. And they asked for a loan. I gave them the money. And now I'm wondering if I should just tell them that it was a gift. Because I do believe that, like, for me personally, I truly believe that I should never give money to anyone unless I can afford to just completely lose it. Now, this happened right before Christmas. It was kind of like a last minute, oh my gosh, I need help. And I helped. And I'm so glad I was able to help. And now I'm thinking, I'm okay without it. And that's normally what I would do. Normally, I would just give it. But I have to decide. And what am I enabling? Is it irresponsible money management, or is it just that life is difficult? Or is it that too many Christmas presents were bought? Was it like overextending themselves unnecessarily? I don't know the answer. I don't know the answer. So isn't Al-Anon amazing like that? Even though we're not in crisis with like a substance abuse, alcohol, or substance abuse problem, we can apply the principles of the program to things that are happening in our lives outside of a crisis situation. I don't know the answer, but I'll think about it. We'll close out with the Serenity Prayer and 3 mindful breaths. Here we go. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and wisdom to know the difference. Thank you so much for joining me today. I look forward to seeing you again tomorrow. Sending you love. Take care.